All right, this panel is such that I can't restore the original material. It's folded. As you can see, it's brittle and it's all cracked. There's no getting that back. So the unfortunate part is that this blue is like in 99.9% beautiful shape, with the one exception that right here there's a split. So I'm hoping I can repair this split, and what I think I can do is with a very sharp razor cut along this line here and separate this panel, separate the whole thing from the backing panel, unstaple it at the bottom, use the blue but dump the wood grain. I've ordered some new wood grain, so that should be easy to cut along this line here, put the wood grain under, and redo it while retaining the blue. The blue would be hard to modify because of the lines in it. So you want to keep the blue, but the wood grain doesn't have any lines. And so you can buy this wood grain from the store, and hopefully I'll be able to put the whole thing back together with a bunch of glue. We'll see how that actually works out. Should I decide to replace the entire thing, it's $350, just buy a new one. The kind of one stick in the ointment is this thing right here. It could be glued on, I'd imagine, but it's also riveted, and I believe that once you take off those rivets, it might be done for this piece. So how to reattach it, that's a good question. I don't know yet, and that's something we're going to find out. So to take off the blue, I've taken off all the clips, and you just have to take off the staples and then peel that off. So I'll show you what the end result is. This happens to be the passenger side driver door. So I'll let you see what happens when I'm all done, which will probably be a week or more. All right. Okay, YouTube, I've got this panel separated from the backing plate. Couple notes about that. One is the staples. They're really shallow. They barely have any length on them there. I don't think it matters how wide they are, but as far as their depth, what, 1/8 of an inch? They're very shallow, and that's to fit into this board. You don't want them going through the board. So I'll show you the far side of this. On this side, note that there's wood grain vinyl, and there's this trim line going through here. So you can see that's where they join. I'll turn it over. If you look on the back panel, notice that on the blue vinyl it all peeled off, but on the other vinyl, the wood grain vinyl, it stayed. I think that's okay, not a big deal. So here's the back side. You got to be very careful when peeling this off. If you fracture the blue and split it, and if it's not pliable, just start over. Don't do this, because the blue has to be pliable. If you look, they've joined the vinyls together here. Unfortunately, I think what they've done is on the top piece is the part that has the trim. So the trim came along with the top piece. It may be stuck to it, it may be part of it, but looking from here, it looks like it's part of it. So to me, what that means is you have to leave this piece attached. So your cut line would be to the left here, on the left of these double lines. That way you leave your metal attached. Yeah, so you want to cut right here. And then you can probably overlay your new vinyl right across here. So that's my plan. That's what I'm going to do. This piece is still stuck up here. I don't really know what to do with it. It's going to depend on how it comes apart. Okay, all right, there's the back side of the panel with these. Looks like they're soldered on or something for this thing here. So I'm sure I could grind them off, but I'm gonna try. It looks like maybe they're leaded on. So what I'm gonna try is to get them off like with a hot needle, and we'll see if that works. If it doesn't work, I guess my only option is to grind it off, and then we'll have to figure it out from there. All right, this is a video update on the doors that I'm working on for the GTX. And to start, here's the trim piece that goes on the door that I was trying to solder it off, and that didn't work. I had to file it off, and consequently I don't think it's reusable. I'm gonna have to go over to Classic Car Industries and replace that, because I'd have to put some screws in it or something, and I think it must have been one-time use. I'll use it for something else. I took the door panel I had, took it apart and cut off the wood grain section of it because it was destroyed, and also removed the vinyl. Now the vinyl has this chrome trim line, so what I'm going to do is I've purchased some more wood grain, so I'm going to lay the wood grain down on the door and then glue the vinyl on top of the wood grain. So that should work pretty good. The line's pretty crisp that I cut, so that should actually work out pretty good. Should look better than almost better than new. So there's an update for you. I'll let you know how it goes. All right, so here's the deal. When it's all done. I got this material online. This is over $100. It's 3M. It's double stick side, and it's very similar to this. It's a little lighter, I think, but that is also oiled down, which makes it look darker. So, it's a pretty close fit. So it's going to go on here. Going to overlap the edge so that I can bend it over, and then cut it to size. I'm probably going to have to copiously glue it because of that mesh there, or just take that out. Right now I'm going to leave that on and use the stick and some glue. And then when that's on, this other piece will come on, and then I'll make the appropriate holes in it and glue this piece down, and it's got the whole door openings in here somewhere. Then you got it. So it's going to take a little while to work it, but I got a little extra 3M sitting there. Oh yeah, it's a Shelby. And we'll see how it goes. Okay, here's a quick update on where I'm at on these doors. I'm still working on the first panel, and I've done the far side with the new wood grain, and now I'm reattaching the blue vinyl. And so to reattach the blue vinyl, on the front side I used the A1 foam fabric, which seems to do pretty good. This actually is best to use on the wood grain, because if you use the Weldwood contact cement on the wood grain, it sort of melts it. And here's an example. I put it right in on here, and it's tacky right here, but it sort of like melts this vinyl kind of a little bit. That might be good, might be bad, but I would say don't use this contact on the wood grain. Use the adhesive on the wood grain would be my recommendation. But before you start doing any of this, you should test every kind of glue you're going to use on a little piece and see how it works, because it's actually kind of warped that wood grain, kind of sort of melted it a little bit. And then so I'm using the Weldwood on here to get the vinyl to go back on. So I'm going to continue around, put my vinyl back. This had staples to begin with, and I don't have those little staples. and I don't think it's 100% necessary, since I'm using these clips to hold it in place while it dries. So I don't think the staples are going to be necessary, and staples that I would have would go all the way through here and come out the front, so that's probably not a good idea. Let me get a clip for that. So anyway, that's where I'm at on that door panel, and then the second panel is sitting up here. I'm not sure what to do. Might take a shortcut on it. On the other one, I just cut a line right across here, and I peeled this off. But you know, that's on there so nicely and it's so much work. I got two options here. One is to glue this back together, maybe three options, and just live with a little seam crack there. Two is to cut this little weld piece out and to put a patch in. And the patch might look a little odd. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do on this one. Probably the best way is to cut it out and then put an entire piece under here. I'm going to not take off the blue this time because the blue's stapled and all that. Maybe the best way is just to cut a line here and slide it, just slide it under. So that's where I'm at. I apologize for this project being so long. It just takes a long time when you're working on these panels. If I take the whole piece off, then this has to come off, and these pieces you can't get them back on. They're like riveted. Fortunately, I've bought another piece, and those pieces are, this piece is $100 a pop. I've already bought it, so I got two of them. That's $200. The vinyl was $150, so you're in $350 just to do this project yourself. That's an update for you right now. Can't base out. Probably, unless there's something I need to tell you guys about putting this together, the next video will be these on the car. All right, another thing, I got a new emblem that goes on the other side, but these are screw in, whereas the other ones were sort of soldered in or something. Looks pretty nice. So next guy that has to do this has got one that'll work fine. Now the vinyl on the other side is, I haven't made the holes for the vinyl on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a soldering gun, and here's a sample of how it would work, just to melt a hole. And seems to do a pretty good job. So that's how I'm going to make the holes for my emblem. Just a tip. It seems to do very well. It's better than a knife or a blade or a drill or something else. Alright, so there's the final door panels. One of them was take everything off, blue and the wood grain. The other one was just take the wood grain off and glue it, push it in and glue it together. They came out about the same. The blue is nice and smooth. The wood grain actually looks a little rippled, but